a lot of people think, especially new people trying to get in the business or people with aspirations to do this, that once you've done it, it's easy. I think actually once you've done it, once you've hit a home run, it's harder. It's harder because the expectation or the notion that people have about who you are is so ingrained in them, and most of the time so incorrect, that that's a bigger struggle than coming from nothing to something. I think is a bigger struggle.
Then Randall Kleiser directed the movie Grease, you know, with John Travolta. He actually put me with John Travolta in a room at Columbia Pictures, and he said, you know, I want you to talk to John because the same thing's gonna happen to you after this movie. And I didn't really know what he was talking about except for, I guess, the fame thing. And John, you know, he was cool, and I'll never forget, he did say one thing to me. He said, if you don't know what to do, don't do anything because the right thing will happen. As you know, the movie came out and it was a huge, huge blockbuster. I went with Randall Kleiser and I went in a limo one time because it premiered at the Cinerama Dome down in Hollywood, and Randall Kleiser and I went past the Cinerama Dome to just check to see what the lines were. He was interested, and there were Star Wars lines. I mean, it went from the door and went all the way around the building and all the way down the side of the building, down the block. I mean, it was unbelievable. I never saw so many people in my life.
The director who I had worked with before, Jonathan Kaplan, wonderful director. Jonathan called me and said, listen, we're in Canada and we're doing this movie. There's a role I want you to do. They're trying to make me cast it Canadian. He said, but that ain't gonna happen. I'll go through the dog and pony show and see everybody, but I want you to do the role. Let me know if you want to do it. I read it, and you know, the character was, oof, pretty low, you know? And I called him, I said, listen, this is great, Jonathan. I really would, I would love to do this. And he said, you sure? What do you mean, am I sure? I said, yeah, I want to do it. He said, well, there could be repercussions. Didn't know what the hell he meant, okay?
Yeah.
Well, as the movie goes on and we film it, then it comes out, I couldn't go anywhere. People would come up to me, and a waitress in a restaurant, and I'd be with my family, and she said something like, excuse me, this isn't my table, but I saw you in that movie, God, I hate you, were so sleazy, good job. And she'd walk away, and I'd be there like, what? In church?
You know, and then after the movie came out, there wasn't there was not a place on this planet that I could go that I wasn't, you know, mobbed. I mean, absolutely mobbed.
Did you dislike it, or did you like it, or?
Well, I mean, how could you not like it? I mean, come on. It's like, but there is that ego check. I mean, you know, I have a really good family behind me. You know, I mean, my mom and my brother and sister. Right? And that's important. And I always love sharing things. You know, so to me, this was just like fun and wild and crazy. And oh, let's get a limo. And come on, guys. You know, I'll get all my friends. And we go to Studio 54 and have fun or whatever. You know, it got really tough because of the privacy issue. I mean, you can't go to a grocery store. You can't go, you know, anywhere with your friends because you're standing there and people recognize you, come up for autographs. And I like to sign. I don't like to, I don't like to hurt people's feelings, type of thing, you know. But it comes a point in time where you have to say no. You know, if you're eating or something, you just say, hey, can I get afterwards? And it sounds awful, but you know, at the time, it's sometimes, you know, you'll get worse off for the wear if you don't take care of yourself once in a while. But your friends, you know, that was the hardest part, with family and friends around, because you're constantly pulled this way, constantly pulled this way.
I've gotten to play a big porn producer on Nip Tuck. That was fun. Right, yeah. But nobody wanted to see me for that part.
Yeah. Yeah,
so it took convincing on my team's part to get them to even see me, because they thought they knew exactly what John Schneider was. Yeah. And what I'll get 9 times out of 10 is, oh, I love John Schneider, but he's not right for this. Wow. You know, when we have a hillbilly, you know, we'll call him.
But what he said to me did come to pass. My agent, now people, John Q. Public would come up and maybe compliments, and I hated you, this and that. Well, I could understand that, and I took that as a compliment.
Sure.
But when the studios and the networks, they would tell my agent, they said, if I was up for a comedy,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a good actor, that guy, yeah. He's got a dark side. Wait a minute, guys. Aren't you supposed to understand that?
Acting,
you know?
acting.
And the next thing I was offered was a miniseries called My Name is Steven. A pedophile steals a kid, and the money was good, and I needed money because I just had a young baby, and I turned it down.
Yeah.
What, I go from a rapist to a pedophile? Where am I going to go
You're
after
gonna be
that?
stuck, yeah.
I'm going to be poor Andy Robinson.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Good,
I say
yeah.
Andy Robinson, wonderful actor.
Dirty Harry.
Yeah,
Dirty
good
Harry.
director, and he was the killer, the serial
Yeah.
killer, in
Zodiac Killer.
The Zodiac Killer,
Right.
and poor Andy never pulled out of it.
Yeah.
You know.
But the thing that the razor blade in that apple for me is that if I was from Snailville, Georgia, which doesn't exist, but let's say it did. If I was from there and I had grown up on a farm and my first job was playing a New York cop, I would be considered an actor. Now I'm from Westchester County, New York, and my first job that people remember was me playing a hillbilly on a dirt road, which for some reason doesn't make you an actor.